Hey, it's Akiza, and welcome back to another Crafty update. It's been a while again, but it took a lot longer than I thought it would to actually get the apartment into a place where most of everything was in the right places. There's still a few bits and pieces that need to be sorted and put away, particularly a lot of craft overflow that didn't really fit into the craft slash study room, but that's, I guess, an ongoing work in progress. Bookshelves are more or less done. So here, this is a lot of series you'll be able to see going down that way. The one right down the end that way is the manga, and then this side is a lot more of my miscellaneous stuff. Probably can't see, but right up the top there is all my horror and medical fiction. And then all the stuff on the bottom are reference books, so all my study books. Especially the study books, because they've broken two bookshelves already, so I really didn't want them breaking a third one. So that's about it for housey related updates. I'll probably more or less film here in the future, but I am hoping to make a whip, either a whip or a finish parade. I haven't quite decided from the cross stitch point of view in the next couple of weeks. So that's, I think, my next video plan. If I can get all the finishes hung, it'll be the finishes, otherwise probably just the whips. I say just, I have a lot of whips, but you'll find out next episode or the episode after, I guess. In terms of updates, this is mainly June and July, but part of the reason I'm filming today, and oh my gosh, I didn't even say what day it is. It's the 2nd of August, 2026. Reason I'm filming today rather than the end of July is A, I had a proper weekend for once, and B, I really wanted to get something done. So now that that's done, I can film, and might as well start with the finishes on that topic. I'll preface this by saying that I did go to the Stitching in the Mountains retreat at the end of June as well, so you're going to see a couple of haul items that are related to that. So, both my finishes are on the same piece of fabric, so you can probably guess which two they are. But I have Winter Quaker and no, the other way around, Winter Quaker and Christmas Quaker. Both these are by Primrose Cottage Stitches. The blue one that's the one I did at the end of June, and that was actually my retreat start and finish. And funny story there, I got to the end of June somehow and hadn't even started it, so I was like, I probably should take it to the retreat, see if I can get a bit done in it. Did a few stitching races with it. I actually kind of won the 50 stitch race on Saturday. I say kind of because I didn't beat the pace car, which was Lisa from Paddock Lane Designs, who's one of the organisers of the retreat. But I did get a little prize, which I will show you afterwards there. But that's part of the reason. And then all day Saturday, I did quite a lot of stitching on it. And then the after hours stitching that we were doing in the library, I did that as well. And it was getting close to midnight, but then I had 50 something stitches left. And my tablet looked like it was about to die, so it turned into a bit of a three-way race between me, the clock, and the tablet battery. But I won. I finished it just before midnight, and the total stitch count for that day was 1,900 and something. I'll put the stitch down below. I did screen capture it because I didn't think I was going to get that many stitches in a day again for a long, long time. But yep, that was 2 days of stitching. And then what happened after that is I started another project. Then I got stuck in moving shenanigans and work shenanigans. And then I picked up a crochet project, which we'll also see later. No, sorry, I picked up some socks and then I did the crochet project. And then suddenly it's the end of July and I have another Christmas Quaker either. So I started on that, but the problem is I was working for 2 weekends before that. So I didn't really get a lot of weekend time. So I think I started working on this on Tuesday, so the 27th of July. Tried to work at it as much as I could. Got to the 31st. I was on call. Was in the hospital till about 8, 9 p.m. So I didn't really get much stitching time on that day. So it kind of fell mostly into August, unfortunately. So I stitched on it quite a bit yesterday and finished stitching on it today. And that's why I just wanted to get that one finished up before I filmed. but I only had about 300 stitches to do today, so that was okay. That also turns out to be my longest Quaker out of these series currently. This one took Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so 6 days. So I went from Quaker taking 2 days to Quaker taking 6 days. Now the colours those two are on, sorry, excuse all the crinkling. The blue one is done with this colour, so it's 4240. It's a gorgeous variegated blue and purple. The green I actually don't seem to have the tag with. I'm sure I brought 2 skeins of each colour, because initially I thought I was going to do it on like a 14 or 16 count, or an even weave equivalent. Oh no, I did write it down. Okay, Pastor Kiza was paying attention, thankfully. So this is DMC 125. It's a variegated green. There we go, write it there with the Sharpie pen. And these floss drops were a present from Adelaide Stitches. So I've got all my colours hanging out on there. So this one will be for Summer Quaker. And this one here, the green and purple, that will be Spring Quaker. And I don't know if you can see here, but I was a bit worried when I started, because I started up in this corner over here and went across that way, and somehow I wound up starting off with the really light portion of the skein. So it looked like it was blending in a bit, but once I got the darker colour, or darker part of the skein in, it started to look better. But then I had to be a little bit more mindful around the colours compared to some of the other ones I've done so far. So that's, oh, there we go, get it all into frame. That's all 4 of them currently hanging out on this gigantic piece of fabric. I've got 3 more left. So I've got Spring, Summer, and the Halloween Quaker. Initially, I wasn't sure whether I was going to do the Halloween Quaker this year, but now I've decided, since October is exam month, that I would do a Halloween Quaker theme. So I've only got 3 Quakers, I say only, 3 Halloween Quakers currently. I've got the Halloween Quaker by Primrose Cottage Stitches, which is not a whip per se, but considering I'm doing all the other Quakers this year, it was a bit of a shame leaving that one out. So that's what we're going to do. And then I've got the Halloween Quaker by Luminous Fibre Arts, which is when I started after seeing it on Adelaide Stitches channel, but I've kind of done the opposite colour scheme. And then I've got Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio, which is the one I started with Adelaide Stitches, and that really needs more love. So I was thinking, the first 2 are a lot simpler than the third one, so I might just work on the Luminous Fibre Arts, plus or minus the Halloween Quaker, depending on how I'm feeling, up until the actual exam. And then exam's on the 20th, so I've got I've got 10 days after exams as well, and I'm not working for most of them because exams at the beginning of the week, they've had to give me the entire week off for study leave, which means I have some wind down time after exams as well, which I was actually really worried about, so I'm glad they've done that. And I can work on something that's a little bit more, requiring a bit more eye power and brain power, which would be the Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio. Now, skipping a little bit ahead to the retreat haul, I wound up grabbing this grime guard to manage all of that fabric. So this has worked really well with that. And this is the frame that I use. It's just a frame from a dollar store, but it's a 110mm square frame. And then just pop all the excess fabric in here. So that's been that, and that is all my finishes. Starts, I have 3. Oh, one more thing before I get on to the starts. Because I finished the Winter Quaker at the retreat, I also got this needle minder. So the Finisher Whip needle minder from Ginger Stitch AU. Now, continuing the theme of the retreat, this was one of the patterns in our goodie bags. This is Perfumes by Paddock Lane Designs. And because I'd finished the Winter Quaker on Saturday, I still had Sunday to do some stitching. And I ummed and ahed a little bit of should I work on the ocean cell, which is the other piece I brought with me, or should I start one of the retreat pieces? And because this one actually has the retreat details on it, I wound up starting. But it turned out to be a bit bigger than I thought it would, so I haven't actually finished it yet. Oh, there's a stray piece of thread. There we go. So this is perfume bottles, or perfume. I might just take it out of the nerd tube because you cannot see half of what I've actually done there. And this came fully kitted in the retreat goodie bag. So it came with the threads, which are a mix of Silks for You and CXC threads. And it came with the fabric as well. I also got this nerd hoop. So this is a pink nerd hoop #1. Same size as the other one, but this is the actual nerd brand. And I got this from Paddock Lane Designs pop-up shop as well. There we go. That's better. This is going to need a lot of ironing to get that wrinkle out. So this is Stitching in the Mountains. I started with that text and then I finished the text off. I'm almost done with that first perfume bottle, but there's another two. Yep, another two perfume bottles, and then there's the writing down the bottom as well. So I think I thought it was a lot less stitching than it turned out to be, but still loving it. I've basically worked on this exclusively since finishing the retreat until I got to the point I was like, oh, I really need to do that Christmas Quaker. So I'll probably pick this back up, but I don't know whether I'm going to do something else first and then pick this back up, or finish off that first perfume bottle, then take a break and get back to it. So it's a little bit too big for me to kind of work on monogamously from beginning to end, which is what I thought I would do originally. So that's that piece. The silk, what I've got currently on the needle is CXC, but that purple in the middle, that's silk, and this colour down the bottom that's highlighted a lot of the perfume bottle, that's also silk. And it was such a nice experience to be working on silk again. So it came with the floss in one of these little floss palettes by Paddock Lane Designs. And I put it into this little bag that I also got from the retreat. Lots of books, which is very apropos since you can see some of my collection behind me there. I think that's it for retreat stitching. So this next new start is a Nashville needlework market release from this year. This is the Rise Up and Shine sampler by Ardith Designs. I didn't actually get a lot of stitching into this because I think I started it right before the whole moving chaos. So I didn't get too far into it, and I also had to change a couple of colours, or maybe just one colour, from my initial plan. But this is what I've done so far. Got lots of hanging threads. So I've just done that first motif in the first and second motifs, I think. Not so great French knots in there as well. This little minder is from JK's Cross Stitch, and this fabric is pretty sure it's a linen. I usually stave the sticker, but I don't know what I've done with it. I might have to find that out later. But yeah, it's a pretty dark purple linen, so I need good lighting. And the cord 4 is Forbidden Fibre Co. thread, so I've subbed them out with a bunch of DMCs. The purple I picked out initially was too light, so blended in with some of the other colours, so I've had to replace that. And that's my little sticky note with all the details. But if I know ones, I can email them out. And I've got all my floss in a, sorry, very noisy, colour palette from, I think this was a Caterpillar cross stitch one from one of its, one of the monthly or bi-monthly boxes. and I put these little rings around them to fit the fabric in, to fit the floss in, so it fits an entire skein. Because I find if I try to get a skein straight into here, it gets a little bit squashed with how short I cut my lengths. So doing it this way lets me fit more, and sometimes I can fit 2 skeins on there as well if I need to. There you go. So this is the purple I had to swap out. I initially did 3743, but then it was too close to the white and the cream, so I wound up going with DMC 30 instead, and I've kind of just stolen that from my master set, so that's why that one looks like that. So if nothing else, I need to finish working with the DMC 30 and put that back into the master set before I forget where it actually is. And I've got that in a little Potter Cats bag. This is the same bag I had the Primrose Cottage B series in, and it was still out, so I was like, I might as well put it there instead of looking for a new bag. Next new start, I think this is my last new start. This is in the bag that I got from the Colour Cascade Stitching Day. There we go. Not entirely thematically appropriate, but that's okay. I like spooky stuff at all times of the year. And this is the Welcome to the Circus cell by Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery. That's the whole fabric there. And I'll just fold it up because the line's pretty close to the middle. There we go. And that's the first bit of the cell done. This needle minder was gifted to me by someone at the retreat as well. And this fabric is somewhere in here. Oh, it's I think it's either 28 or 32 count. I'm not quite remembering right now. But this is Artemis by Colour Cascades. These are all the called for. Okay. These are all the called for colours. The rest of them may not have all of the called for because I did have to steal a couple of colours from my master set, because when I put an order in for the skeins I was missing, I forgot a column of them. And instead of going back and ordering them again, I was at the wool in, I'll get into why in the crochet section, but they store anchor floss, so I wound up getting the anchor equivalents for the ones I was missing. So the future parts are going to have a mix of DMC and anchor to them. But that's my little lion. And I've got the etoile, I just haven't needed to use it yet. Then I've got all my colours in a floss palette that was given to me by Adelaide Stitchers, also at the Colour Cascades Stitching Day. So this turned out to be a bit of a Colour Cascade memorial piece. I have not started part 2 yet, and I'm not entirely sure whether I will try to keep up with the stitch along or not, because since moving, I'm trying to decide what will go on my study wall and what will go in other places, and I was thinking of putting the Frosted Pumpkin Stitchery Arctic Animal cell on the wall in my study room, and there's not many more things that will fit on there, so I thought maybe I'll focus on that cell, even though it's not one of this year's, just so I can get that one finished and onto the wall. I've already got the Z by Nora's Letters by Nora, I just need to frame that, and I think once those two are also up on the wall, there's not going to be a whole lot more space for things, and there is a pretty big space up the top, so just running just under the under the skirting of the ceiling, which I was thinking of putting the ABC by Tiny Modernist, which is one of her old stitch-alongs, and I have started that one on, I'll show it in my whip parade, but it's on 2/2 125 count, but I'm still on the A, so that's going to take a long time to finish, but I think it'll still fit up there. It was going to be up there in my old place anyway, but that time I had a huge, like, the wall window behind my desk. Now my desk, the window's on the side, and the back wall is more of a proper wall. And on the other side, where I've got my sewing machine, etc., I have got almost floor-to-ceiling shelves. But on the side that has the desk, there is more space behind it because I don't want my computer bumping into anything. and it's also a raising desk, so I need enough space to be able to raise it up to the point where I'm standing and it's still not bumping into things. And this last new start is technically one that I should have shown in my last video. I had it sitting there staring at me and just completely forgot. So this is Whispering Secrets to the Ocean. And this is by Ariana, and it's by Such So Beautiful. So there's a little girl and a cat sitting by the ocean there, and just that part with the waves in it. I love the colours of this, and I also love the fact that it's ocean themed. One day I was hoping to live near the ocean or near a body of water, but the trouble is a lot of the ocean areas here are coastal, which are very far from tertiary hospitals, and it's very hard to work any sort of specialty, especially in pediatrics, and not live close to a metropolitan hospital. So I'm gonna have to decide on one or the other eventually. Either that or lots of traveling, which I'm not really up for. But still, beautiful piece. I've put it in a folder because I'm actually planning to stitch this one by paper. It's going to sound a little crazy because I do have Pattern Keeper, and I do usually stitch full coverage with Pattern Keeper, but sometimes I just don't want to be looking at a screen, so that's why I've done that. I won't show you the actual pattern, but yeah, that's why it's in a folder like this. Sorry, excuse the crinkling again. And that's why I've also got this on 18 count, so I don't need to worry about having a magnifier. So it's going to be a easy on the eyes stitching experience, but also probably means it's not going to get a lot of progress. So this is where I am currently, and to be honest, I actually wound up starting this because I was winding all the thread into bottoms, and I was like, you know what, if I'm winding it all, I should put some stitches in. And I meant to just do one square, but then I somehow wound up doing a bit of overflow as well, so that's how I got that much done. No idea when I'm going to pull that out again. I was thinking it would be really nice to have something like a breakfast stitch, but I usually have to set a lot of alarms and then wake up and run for the light rail. That's not the most practical idea for me. I think that's it actually, cross stitching wise. Oh, I didn't work on any whips. I wound up putting away the... Oh wait, sorry, I have forgotten to actually grab my whip. There is one. Sorry, correction. There is 2 cross-stitching whips. Or according to my notes anyway, which I'm inclined to trust. And this is the first one. This is Pokemon, this is the All Generations, the really epic one by LordLibidan. I think they're all called epic cross-stitch patterns. This one I started in either 2019, 2020 for the first time. I was doing that on either a 28 or a 32 count linen. It was kind of like a bed sheet or something like that from Spotlight. And the stitches are really uneven, and I was having a lot of trouble seeing the holes and hadn't tried any or thought of using magnifying back then. But yeah, it really wasn't enjoyable doing that, so I put it away. Found 22 count hard anger at Spotlight, and I was able to just squeeze it in. But then I was finding with the 22 count, it wasn't gridded, so I kept on losing track of where I was and getting my stitches in the wrong places, and kind of hard to fudge this one compared to a lot of other full coverages. And I also found that with the hard anger, sometimes my stitches slipped under the squares as well, which was really annoying. And then I discovered last year when I was at Canberra that the 20 count, I would have basically a non-existent margin. So I've got that on one side, and I don't think I even will have a square left on the left-hand side. Yep, on the other side, but we'll see once I actually work my way across there. But much more enjoyable stitching experience. So this is start number 3. Started on my birthday last year, so April 2025. So I worked on filling in more of the caterpie there. Filled in the rest of most of the Spiro, as well. And then I've done the outline of Meowth as well and filled in all of the black that was down here. So I've kind of worked all the way across here with the black 939 and 823, I think. All those really dark blue, almost black-like colours. So next protocol is going to be to finish filling in that Meowth, and then just continuing to work my way across these first two columns until I get to the other side. Well, that's the plan anyway. Slow and steady with this one, and it's going to be a whip for a very, very, very long time. And I've just got it in a tote bag from EB Games. This one's the Sinnoh Starters. And I've also got this fabric in here. The Spotlight sometimes has Pokemon line fabrics. This is the only one I've ever seen, well, only time, sorry. There was two fabrics around this time, but the only time I've seen Spotlight carrying them. So I whipped it up while it was there, and I thought I would make this into a quilt hanging right at the end, because trying to frame something of that size is going to be close to impossible, I think. Not to mention where I would put it. And then this is the last whip. There we go. This is Whisper of Wishes by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is their current stitch along. I did get a page finished, so that's page 3. Then I think that's actually why I frizzled out a bit on this one as well. So I got to the end of that page finish and I was like, oh, I don't actually see very much. And it wasn't until I took a photo of it, I put it on Instagram, where I actually realised what I was stitching or which part of the design I was stitching. Because it doesn't have that real popcorn effect that the Pokemon one does. So it just felt like I was putting lots of whites and creams and greens and blues, and not getting a whole lot out of it. And there was also a lot of stitches every month to be putting in, and especially when work's busy, when I'm trying to study, when I've got so many other things I want to do, this was taking up a lot of time. And it just felt like I was constantly behind. I think I managed January, but February onwards I was behind and just got more and more behind as I tried to catch up. But then I got to the page finish, I was like, you know what, I'm not even happy about that. So this is going to go away for a while. I'm sure it'll come out later, but maybe when my brain's a little bit less occupied with other things. So that's all my cross stitching. Now crochet, that's going to be really easy because there's only one, and you will see one very glaringly obvious omission as well. But this is the Ariana cardigan. Which way around is it? Yeah, I think it's this way. So this is the Ariana cardigan. I have one sleeve. I am almost done with the front panel. I don't have the left side done yet, but that's a work in progress. And that's the back there. And all my ends, which I have not woven in yet. So a few reasons why this one decided to essentially take over. It was an easy travel project with all the squares initially, and then I was getting close to having all the squares done, and then I ran out of glue. So these are the squares I've got in my Della Q train case. Half squares, got 1/4, the other quarter is in the project somewhere, and then I've got the full squares. I don't know why that was so hard to say, and they're just chilling in the box here. Now I think I only had 3 to do, so I'd gotten up to this part of one square and I'd run out of blue, and I was like, I have 2.5 half squares to do. That's how much blue I need. But I went to the wool inn on my way to the Stitching in the Mountains retreat, and they actually didn't have the colour in stock. So they ordered it in for me. So I picked it up about 2 weeks after. So this project was in timeout for that period. And then I picked up the remaining extra skein of blue, did the rest of the squares, started joining in, and now I think I've got 1.5 of this grey colour left, which is the joining colour, and also the colour that will do the button band, cuffs, and, well, yeah, I guess collar and button band are kind of a continuous thing. And I've got 1.5 skeins left, so I'm wondering whether I'm going to run out there as well. But put this aside as well to work on the Christmas Quakers. Now I'll pick this back up tonight and see what the skein situation is and whether I need to order in a skein of grey or more than one. I've actually never done a button band before, so yeah, we'll see. And I had 2 skeins left of both the other 2 colours. So the red and the orangey browny colour. I had 2 skeins each. Luckily the Wool Inn does a exchange system, so you can actually take in your full skeins that you haven't used yet and get store credits for them. So I was able to swap out the orange and the red for the blue. That was really nice. But yeah, my skein estimates on that were a bit off. And that's it for crochet. The reason I didn't work on the blanket is initially it was kind of just scrambled move time. I think I'd left it at the old apartment until I'd more or less moved everything in, and then I just picked this one up. And I didn't want to have 2 joining projects on the go, so I'm like, let's just finish joining this first and then we'll get back to that blanket. And now, knitting. Another glaringly obvious omission, I haven't worked on the shortcake sweater either. That's usually my TV project, but socks have kind of pretty much taken over currently. I'll probably get back into that soon, but first of all, what happened was I finished a pair of socks. Ta-da! So these are the ones I've been working on since the end of January. I started them on 1-inch circulars because I was having trouble with magic loop after having broken my hand at the end of December. And then these were the vanilla socks I was just taking on the go with me as well. And once I moved to this apartment, I also needed something to work on the light rail, so that turned out to be socks. And these kind of just sped, oh sorry, got some hair on there, sped along once that happened. So worked on it at work, worked on it on the light rail, worked on it when I was, going elsewhere, I think on the way and on the way back as well from the stitching retreat. So I'd actually gotten to the point where I got off the train at Katoomba while I was picking up the gusset stitches on one of the socks, and that was a bit of an awkward place to get off a train at, but that's okay. So I've got some finished socks now. Haven't blocked them yet. I was waiting to show them, so now I can block them, wear them, enjoy them for a month of winter, and see how we go. These are Malabrigo sock in the colour Distress. It's actually 100% superwash merino, so no nylon in it, so we'll have to see how that wears. But I guess for my first pair of knitted socks, well, first pair that I'm going to wear, because the first pair Mum decided to claim before they were even more than a cuff. Yeah, so first pair, let's see how they go. I can always make more socks that actually do have nylon in them. And these stitch blockers are from 11:1 Windmills. Don't know if you can see it there, but I got these from the Australian Yarn Show in Canberra last year as well. I got a lovely pink colour for me, and then when I was getting these, chatting to my parents on the phone, Mum decided she wanted some hand-knitted socks, and then Dad decided he wanted some too. So Mum and I are more or less the same shoe size, to the point we sometimes just swap shoes. Dad, not so much, so I had to get a separate sock holder for him, but I haven't made him any socks yet because I've been working on the one size so far. And then I had about a week until Sock Week by Nitty Natty, so I picked up this, which is the first sock I ever started. I started this maybe last March or last April, a long time ago. This was using the Afterthought heel. Well, technically it's the Forethought heel, I think, but the video I learnt it from said Afterthought. So I made the rest of the sock. I was overseas when I got to the heel anyway, so it turned out to be a good thing I'd been using that video. So I got into here, so where the stitch marker is. So from here onwards, and then the heel. That's what I did in that week between finishing the other socks and sock week. There's my cute little penguin needleminder there. This one I think I only did 40 rows for the leg. There's still 1 by 1 rib for the cuff, and same kind of heel pattern. It's just same toe pattern, it's just the heel. But for some reason it came out a little bumpy, so I don't think I did my Kitchener on the heel particularly great. And I still need to start the second one, but I'm waiting for my magic loop needles to be free. They're currently with the next pair of socks I'm going to show you. And this yarn is, do I have it here? Yep, there you go. So this is Growlithe by Fangirl Fibers. So she had a few Pokemon colorways. She's the same person who did the countdown that I'm using for the Battenberg blanket. So I think when I brought that, I also brought a couple of her 100-gram skeins in Pokemon colors. So I've got this one, and Alkarimi, I think, is the other one. And then sock number 3, this is what I did for, don't know where I got this from, but it's just a cute little Pikachu drawstring bag. So I Growlithe socks in the Pikachu bag. And then this is my 3rd pair of socks. This is the one I did for sock week. So the theme was garden parties, and anything garden themed counted. And then you got bonus points as well if you used any of the items that were specifically for sock week. So I got in the stitch cutter from 1121 Windmills, so the same person who did these sock blockers. And I didn't realise until I was filling in the form that if I had put the other socks, the garden party socks I mean, on these stitch blockers, I would have gotten an extra point as well. But oh well. Bag is totally not thematically appropriate, but I hadn't been unpacked yet, so I kind of just grabbed what I could find, and what I could find was a Halloween sock bag for some reason. But this is the first sock, so I did this you're supposed to do it in 8 days, so from Sunday to Sunday. I had the bad luck of having a migraine in the middle, so I kind of had to do this in 5 days. And I put pretty much every other craft project aside to do it, but I did manage it, and I have no idea how. Oh, looks like someone's battery is running low. Guess I better hurry up. So yeah, the second sock took longer because I didn't put everything else down, but that's where I'm up to on the second sock. So I passed the heel, started on the foot. You can probably see on both socks I have this area here that's in the contrast colour. That was an accident. So I meant to do a pop of colour for the cuff, the toe, and then the heel, but I didn't realise I should have switched colours once I picked up the gusset and not once I actually got down to my original stitch count. So that's how that stripe happened. Tried to replicate it on here, but I accidentally did too much stitches on the slip stitch heel flap. I just gone on to autopilot while I was chatting with someone on the train, so that wound up longer. But that's okay. I wasn't confident in my ability to rip back and pick up those stitches correctly. And then the last sock is this one, which you've seen before. This is the rainbow colour from, I think it's Fiore. Yep, it's sitting right in front of me. Yep, it's Fiore 80/20 blend, and the colour is 037 rainbow. This is the one that sits on my study table, and I'm up to the point now where I'm working on the slip stitch heel flap, which is just here. No, sorry, it's this one. Yep, so the slip stitch heel flap. And I kind of put that aside to work on my sock week socks and have not gotten back to them. Phone and microphone are now recharged, so let's get into the other stuff and haul. First off, actually I might need to do the haul first, looking at my box of things. So I showed this one already, but this is the needle minder I won for finishing a whip at the retreat. I don't have all of the fabric I brought at the retreat because I've already put that away and didn't want to risk anything going missing in the whole unpacking chaos. But I've got 2 thread beds. So this one I'm I'm gonna have to put the shops in the description because I don't think I brought cards for either of them. But this is a bookish themed one. I realised on Adelaide's floss tube that she got the matching project bag, so we were unintentionally twinning on that one. And then this was the freebie from one of the organisers from the Stitching on the Border retreat, so I got some cute bees with that. I should probably say these are in absolutely no order whatsoever. What's my magnets? These are a set of frames, the magnet frames, so you can put like perforated paper or the like in them. So I've got a big one, medium one, and a small one, which I accidentally dropped on the floor there. I picked out colours that went with each other, but not for any particular reason. I just really liked the colours and the shine there. This is a glass seed mini pack from Mill Hill. I picked this one out as one of the, I think this was the door prize on the last day of the retreat from Lisa. Another grime guard. This one was just beautiful autumn leaves. Oh, it's got a bit of glitter to it as well, shiny fabric. This one's also from Paddock Lane Designs. I used to have one of these from, I'll have to put that name down below as well, but I don't know where it's gotten to, so I picked up another one. This is it helps you measure where on the fabric to start, so you've got your 2-inch line, 2.5 inches, and then the point here would be 3 inches. Though I do admit I do default to a post-it note a lot of the time because they're readily in reach. This is a cute little project bag. This one, from the same place I got the thread bed from, so I've got this one. This one came as part of the retreat bag, so we all got a beautiful rosy one there. Mum was eyeing it, but Mum also doesn't cross stitch, so I got to keep that one. She does embroidery though, which was her argument there. And then I walked past this one a lot of times and eventually grabbed it. This one is Dragon Race Into the Night by Rose Cat Khan. This is actually possibly the one Rose Cat Khan piece I probably wouldn't do, but that's just because I love all the other ones so much and there's no way I would ever finish all of them in my lifetime. So 6 portals I have on the go. I've got a few of her studies. I'm not sure which one I'm going to start first, but oh dear, glasses are sliding down. Yeah, so definitely going to start a study at one point, and then she's got a new one that's come out, which is a bit of a cross with dragons but other mythical creatures as well. So I thought I was more likely to do that one than Dragon Race. And when I saw the bag, I was like, well, I can enjoy Dragon Race without stitching Dragon Race specifically as well. And same fabric on the back there. I'm sure I have another one. Another bag from the same designer. This is purple and Halloweenish. So probably no surprise there. Oh, I know where the last one is. Just give me a sec. I was trying to work out a project, that's why I have this on my desk, but this is the last one. Cute little penguins of all different colours. What else do I have? So this one I got from the same shop that I got the grime guards from. So it's a stitch folio, and again, potion bottles and skulls. Also my major was in pharmacology, so hence the potion bottles there. Cute little green polka dots on the inside. Inside here I've got a fabric that I got at the retreat as well. This is from Paddock Lane Designs, Don't know what the name of the fabric is, but it's a 32 count opal linen. And it's this really pretty browny grey kind of fabric. And of course it's opal. I'm not sure if the shine is going to come across on camera though, particularly now that the sun has set. Now it's Australian winter, the sun is going to set really quickly, unfortunately. The pattern that I've put in here is really not going to show up. I'm probably going to have to put a photo in. This is Skeleton's Vow by 22X Stitch. I was enabled at the retreat, let's just say, so I was sitting at the same table as Tate and Adelaide and Amy from Anxiety Stitched and Teresa. So Tate was telling me, I kind of snuck under Tate's wing a little bit there, but she was amazing. She showed me around, let me sit with her, and told me a whole bunch of different designers which I hadn't heard about before, and a lot of groups in Australia also that I hadn't known about, so that was really great. So she mentioned 22X Stitch. I think it was the Pride and Prejudice sampler she'd mentioned, but I looked at the website, so they're kind of like the modern version of Chatelaine in a way. And then I saw a Skeleton's Vow, so you probably can't see it on the photo, but you've got two little skeletons in each corner there. I'm like, this is right up my alley. So I got that pattern. I'm gonna have to wait till I have in October with no exams before I start it, because it looks not easy per se, but it definitely looks fun, and I've popped it into that folder because I thought that would work really well for it. I'm thinking of starting a smaller 22X Stitch first, which is why I had the penguin bag somewhere else, but we'll get into that in the next flush tube. And speaking of table mates, this is the gift that Adelaide from Adelaide Stitches brought me. It's a beautiful little forest animals there. I've got a few rabbits on this side. I think that's a squirrel there. An owl, a bird, butterfly. I love both rabbits and butterflies. And then this gorgeous fabric on the inside. She also had a piece of fabric in there, but I've already put that into my stash. And then these are the rest of the needle minders. I keep my needle minders in these steel books, I think they're called. CEX Exchange, which is a shop in Australia that sells secondhand games, DVDs, Blu-rays, consoles, laptops, etc. These ones were like 3 for $1 or 3 for $2 or something like that, so I got a whole bunch of them. Put some felt on the inside there, and oops, here we go. So I got one felt in between and then one on each side, and that's how I store my needle minders. So all of these needle minders came from the retreat. This one, I think. This one and these two were in the goodies that we got. I think that one was, I'm not entirely sure. These two are actually from JK's online. I just put them in there as well because I ran out of space in my other steelbook. And then these two and this one were from JK's. And then these three I brought from Lisa from Paddock Lane Designs. Just love the artwork of that girl in there. And this is the one I used at the retreat because I'd forgotten to take a needle minder along. Luckily there was plenty to choose from. Oops. And then this, and yeah. These were the other two patterns that were in the retreat along with the perfume one. So this one is Sweet Lavender. It comes with I had an 8-hour band for mine, and it comes with a little sachet of lavender. That's definitely on my list to stitch soon and put into my little display case. And then we've got this one, which is Stop and Smell the Roses. And then this one came with, I think that's Even With. Also by Mojo Stitches. And then collected some goodies from the freebie table. So one was this one, it's called Romance, and it says cross stitches of Brisbane Retreat 2024. So I don't know if that was a included in a pack there. I think so, because it's got the initials over there as well. I just thought the raven and the sword looked really cool. And then I've got this one, which is Told in a Garden. Oh no, Told in a Garden is the designer. There's some handwriting on it as well, and just the way the chart looks makes me wonder if it is a handwritten or copied from a handwritten, but it says copyright 1986, so a very old one. And the picture is upside down, so that's, sorry, this part should be okay. There's a tiny bit of the pattern peeking in there, but that's the pattern there. This last one I think is from the same designer, but I can't show you because it's doesn't have a photo, it's just got the pattern, but it says Family Treasures number 3 and it's copyright 1987. So that was my haul from the freebie table, and then this is the prize I picked out from Lisa's cart for winning the stitch race on Saturday. So this is a cute little family of koalas, and I'm an only child, so I thought parrot koalas, little baby koala. I thought that was perfect for my little family there. And of course it's a very Australian piece as well. So it's 350 by 241, so a sizable piece. And yeah, it's going to take me a while to actually get to this one, but especially because it's a paper pattern. But yeah, koalas, couldn't pass stuff. And I think that's it for the retreat stuff I've got on. Oh no, it's not. And then some threads as well. The Alice thread collection from Cottage Garden Stitches had just come out just prior to the retreat, so I grabbed the colours. One of them I got from Mojo Stitches, the other 3 I got from Paddock Lane Designs, so they're the 4 colours there. And I also got one called Riot, but I think I put that one away, and I just got it because it looked really cool. I think the rest of this is club related stuff. So this is the Ginger Stitch AU, not Ginger Stitch, Grumpy Ginger Yarn Co. The sock set of the month. They have a different dyer every month, so this time it was NNK, and this is a 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. And this is called Prima Sock Yarn. So that's that, purples and greens there. They may turn into socks for mum because purple and green are her 2 favourite colours. And then we got this sock pack as well from another month. This is also a 75-25, and it came in this little bag, that's why I've left it in there. So this is from the House Die. And this actually came with 2 minis, so purple, pink. I mean, how did they know what my 2 favourite colours were? And then this one. So this is the Panola yarn, and the colour is Desert Princess. So these are definitely going to be for me. And then Ash and Eve Designs, I think, is the rest of this. Oh, there's Riot. So that's the other Cottage Garden threads that I got. Just a wild and beautiful colour, and absolutely no idea where I'm going to use that. Actually no, these are 11:1 windmills. This must have been when I got the yarn cutter. So I also got these dragon yarn bobbins, just thought they looked cute and try to get into colour work again. I got these Chagu swivel adapters. So I think they're supposed to go from either small to large or mini to small, can't quite remember. They're both labelled as small adapters. And then she gave us a little complimentary tea as well. Never heard of this this particular brand of tea, but I do love that colour of the package. The little sparkles in there. Any more surprises in here? Okay. And then I've got this one, which is the last of my woolen woman fibres bags. Because I'm in Australia, I do wind up a couple of months behind. Oops, why do I have a receipt in there? a couple of months behind everything else, but this theme was Petals and Downpour. And this is the yarn, so same name, it's an 80-20 blend, and again, Petals and Downpour. Got a wraps per inch tool there and a cute little cloud. This is the wool wash bar. So this says Violet, Lily and Marie. Candle, Petals and Downpour. Oh, that smells good. Can't tell what it is though. Rose, Lily of the Valley and Fresh Rain. Now how in the world did they get Fresh Rain into a candle flavour? And then the stitch markers. Oh, these are cute. So they've got a little raindrop and looks a little bit like a cloud-shaped star. Yep, that's everything. And then in terms of books, well, these are... Oh wait, sorry, one more. This is not a haul per se, but a cute little present from one of the nurses on the rotation I'm on currently. So this is a stress ball, little octopus and also little grippies, but pink and sparkly. So that was a beautiful little present from them. So I'll go with the books first because I actually don't have that many this time. So this is Jaden's Rescue. This is the only book in May, I think, that I read that wasn't for the Goober Readathon. This is one of my favourites from when I was little, but I didn't own a copy of it. So I managed to find it on a second-hand marketplace, and now I've got my own copy. And of course, as soon as I got that copy into my hands, I had to read it. And then this is the other book that I read. This is Killer Instinct, so the second book in the Naturals series by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. She's more known for the Inheritance game series, but that didn't really sound like something I was going to read so much as the series. So I got book 1 first. I don't remember where, but because I got it with this kind of pattern, the first book was green. I've tried to get the rest of the books in the same one, so I had to wait until I could get them from Amazon because my local store only has the paperbacks. So this is book 2. I don't know if you can see book 3 from where it is, but it's kind of there. Yep, that shelf there. So books 3 and 4 are over there, and book 5 I don't think I can get until the end of the year, unfortunately. Working on that series. And then speaking of books that came in and I had to read, this is Natsume's Book of Friends, volume 32. So this is the most current volume of the manga. So I received that, read it, enjoyed it. We'll have to wait until the next one is available for pre-order. And likewise, same story here. This is Persona 5, volume 15. So again, read it, enjoyed it, have to wait for the next one to be available to order. And then I started a new series. And I've had 2 of the omnibuses so far. This is Alice in Borderland. So the title interested me because it's kind of Alice in Wonderland-esque. And I think overall the story is a little bit like that, but it's a lot darker than you think going into it, considering Alice in Wonderland is more known as a bit of a fairy tale. That being said, the original Alice in Wonderland is a lot darker than the children's friendly versions. That probably makes a lot of sense. So that's volume 1. Got it, read it, then had to wait until I could order book 2. And then this is book 2. I haven't got all of the rest of it. I'm trying to get a little bit at a time just to make it a bit more affordable. So I have got book 3 now. I haven't read it yet because I'm trying to stretch it out a little bit, because otherwise I read book 3, want it, have to order book 4, and it's a bit of an ongoing thing. I think it's 9 volumes in total. 9 or 12, I can't quite remember now. And then there's Alice in Borderland Retry, which is another 3 volumes as well. So a little bit chunkier than the other 2. They are going to look pretty, very pretty all together on the bookshelf, I think. Is that the same? Or is that an extension? Oh, I think it's an extension. So if you put the two together, you can see a bit of a cityscape forming there. It's going to be pretty cool to see them all on a shelf together. Okay, so that's it for my book box. The only other thing I've done is finish listening to The Two Towers. That was when I was at the Stitching in the Mountains retreat. So I started listening to Return of the King, but I haven't gotten very far into it yet. I think they've just arrived in Gondor and Pippin is getting his tour, so I'm kind of somewhere in that area at the moment. Faramir may or may not have shown up, I can't actually remember anymore. Watching wise, we watched Against the Wind. My dad had a copy of that, so it's a pretty old story. It's based off a convict from Ireland getting shipped to Australia, and then her journey, finishing her sentence, becoming free, and then trying to establish themselves in a country that was quite biased towards ex-convicts. So that was a really interesting story, especially because it covers some of the areas it covers are near where I live or places I've been to before, so that was really interesting, particularly the areas around Parramatta. After that, we rewatched the Lord of the Rings again, and then we watched the Hobbit trilogy straight after that, so it was a bit of an extended Lord of the Rings marathon. And then we watched Gundam Seed, the anime. So I haven't quite finished watching all of that, but my parents had to get back to their home for a few life admin things. So they've done what they could in terms of helping me move, and then all the little bits and pieces I'll have to do around work times. But yeah, we didn't quite get all the way to the end of Gundam Seed there, and my mum was surprisingly into it. She's not normally interested in watching things. She kind of falls asleep on the couch, and me and Dad do the actual watching. So I went for Gundam Seed because it's a little bit sci-fi, sorry. So it was quite interesting, but then, yeah, Mum really got into the story, which was an unexpected bonus, I guess. So even though I have been watching things, I haven't really been doing my TV crocheting or knitting so much. But hopefully I'll get back into the rhythm of my usual things now. In terms of plans, August doesn't have a Quaker assigned to it, so I guess I'll just try and see if I can get any progress in the other things. For some reason, my larger Quakers have really been calling my name, and also some of my other full coverages, so I guess we'll see what tickles my fancy there and what kind of time I have. But I was trying to get the other tutu stitch pattern started first, so we'll see how I go with that. But it looks like the cross stitching part is 1/1, so it's going to be on 28 or 32 count, so yeah, that will be interesting. I'll have to make sure my magnifier is set up properly for that one. Other than that, I do hope to get perfume bottles and the Rise Up and Shine sampler done sooner rather than later, so they're pretty high on the priority list as well. But I think I haven't stitched a lot of the things that I've started and kind of haven't really gone back to, so I was hoping to do some of that. There's, again, only so much time in the year as well, so we'll just have to see how that goes. Hopefully I can get out of heel land with my rainbow socks. The garden party ones are pretty close to being done, so I'm not too worried about those ones. I am worried, however, about running out of grey yarn again, so we'll see how that goes and whether that needs to be put on the back burner until I can get my hands on more yarn. And then Ruskin's Penguins. Oh, I just ran, but I forgot to show that. Okay, so another cross stitch right at the end. This is Ruskin's Penguins by Modern Folk Embroidery. This is my study stitch. This is another one that hangs out here on my coffee table where I like to study. And that's where I'm up to so far. I'm not going to move the group because I'm pretty close to finishing off this area, and then I'll be able to move it for stitching purposes. So I finished bringing this black part of the border down, and now I started to fill out the white sections. So I did all of that, come down here, I don't know if I've done this corner before, but then I definitely put that little one in there. They're getting close to having one page done, but I think I fizzled out a little bit as well. I'm just doing all of that black, so the sock got a bit more love instead, but that's okay. That's why I have more than one study project. And I guess that's it for today. Be kind, happy crafting everyone, and I'll see you all next time.